Hey guys, what's up? Stock Retail coming back to you. I just happened to be on the road on a business trip. I'm down in San Francisco, so shout out to the Bay Area apes. I won't have time to say hi to anybody. Just kind of in for some meetings tomorrow and then back home again. But since I'm on the road, I have some time. My family's back home, and I'm just sitting here in a hotel room. And I thought, you know what? There's some stuff that's going on. Maybe I'll go ahead and see if I could pull together a quick video. So that's what I've done. You can see I'm going to just talk about FTX's bankruptcy process. Finally, some of you, I'm sure, have been waiting a very long time. Some creditors and shareholders and asset holders will begin to get their money back. And so I want to just talk about that and why I've posted about that a few times on X. Just share about that. By the way, I had a very few people, oddly, it was my wife included, who literally could not see or watch the last video I did, the Q4 forecast for AMC and for the box office. Very strange. It was marked as restricted. I don't know if it was like marked as, you know, NSFW type content or something. And obviously that's not me. I'm a very clean account. Don't even curse at you guys here on the air. So I'm not quite sure what happened, but I had at least 8 people, and so I'm sure they're representative of a larger group, who said you literally couldn't see the video, couldn't access it, couldn't watch it, even with a direct link sent to you. So that is also up on X now. If you wanted to see the Q4 box office forecast and AMC forecast that I did, and somehow it's restricted for you here on YouTube, I don't know why that happened, you can see it there. All right, so FTX, what happened was a bankruptcy court finally approved FTX's their plan to return cash. And this is not a small amount. So you can see FTX posted today. If you want to see that on X, you can just go Google this too. There are quite a few news articles about this today. And so I'm even just going to show you their plan was approved. And yeah, actually, I'll come to that. So real quick, I had... I'm going to give you a point of view. So as this FTX money is returned, some to creditors, some to shareholders, like I said, some probably to some asset holders. I'm not saying it's everything, all the money coming back, but it's not small potatoes. And I do believe some of it, you've got to at least say more than zero of it will flow back into particularly crypto. So I think in particular, Bitcoin, Ethereum, perhaps Doge, and, Shiba and some other coins and things like that. You all know that I'm partial to Bitcoin for a lot of reasons I won't cover here. You can see my playlist on the Great Unwinding that'll cover some of that topic. And just a reminder here that I've kind of been telling you about this for a couple of weeks, that I had seen there even a typo in the tweet here I had at the end of September, that at that time Bitcoin was over 65K and FTX money was going to start flowing. So I was just really keeping an eye on Bitcoin, just kind of saying, hey, watch Bitcoin there. By the way, as always with me, no dates, no prices. I'm not telling you specifically that you got to buy because it's going up. I mean, first of all, there's never any financial advice on this channel. I can't do that. It's just a guy on the internet with an opinion. I tell you all the time, no trust me bros here. But I'm just saying, okay, I believe it's a thesis. Some of that cash will start flowing back. It's been sort of trapped in bankruptcy proceedings for a long time. And now, think of it as liquidity. Some people will get cash back in their hands, and I suspect we'll reinvest it. It's just a logical thesis that I have. And so I think that's just very interesting. I think today when I posted, Bitcoin was back more around 64K. But whichever crypto you are into, if any, and then even some stocks, right? I'm sort of lovingly calling them stonks here, but I'm just saying there's some cash that's been sort of handcuffed and now going back to people who may decide to invest it. And it's not small cash. So look, it's up to $16 billion. And this is just a little excerpt from part of the plan that I'm going to show you here. A couple things. So here I'm highlighting the 16.5 billion. That's the max. If you look, you can see it could also be as low as 14.7. So the other thing to notice, it says, okay, you might say, oh, this sounds great, 119% of allowed claims, but that's allowed claims. That's a very specific term. So that doesn't mean people are getting all their money back. Pardon me a minute. I'm just taking a sip of beer here. I guess it's times like these it'd be better if I was on screen. I could give you guys kind of a toast and a cheers. It is a green bottle, by the way. So there you go. That's, I don't know, hopefully auspicious for us. We'll talk about AMC in a little bit too, and just tough day. Anyway, so for FTX, the money flowing back, that is an amount basically agreed on through bankruptcy proceedings. So I'm not suggesting like let's all celebrate everybody getting their money. Like FTX is still very much a villain here. The people who pumped FTX are very much villains. The people who ran FTX are very much villains in my mind. This was a lot of bad news all over the place, and we don't have to rehash that. You can see the official liquidators, joint official liquidators of FTX Digital Markets. Notice that they were registered in the Bahamas. I came across some other DD today. I'm not quite ready to share it because I haven't dug into it well enough. But generally, if you look at who kind of overtook some of their operations, there are bits and pieces, and in particular, when we look at the derivatives market in crypto, that, it goes by, let's say, other ownership now, but there are pieces of what FTX had created that may still be out there. So maybe that's a future conversation worth digging into if you're a DD ape. Just kind of go poking around on that a little, or I'll talk about it someday. And then you can see that there will be a separate announcement for the estimated first distribution date. So I showed you my posts a minute ago. I had thought this was starting this week. So I got that wrong, or perhaps it will still start this week. But they have yet to announce when the actual first distribution date is. But it got approved. The cash is there. They're ready to start distributing the cash, moving it to the people who are going to, receive it. So that's kind of a big deal. Like I said, so just some thoughts. Creditors and shareholders receiving some amount back. I don't know how much of their sort of initial investment, but at least in some cases they're getting more than what you see that 119% amount of their allowed claims. That probably has to do with a couple things. One, the cash has been sitting around accruing interest. Two, I think there was a time when some of the assets were getting sold. So if you remember, a while back, Bitcoin had a lot of downward pressure, so did Ethereum and other crypto from FTX liquidation. They were liquidating their assets, selling them off to get back into cash, to then return this cash. So we're finally to the part where the cash gets returned. But in some cases, perhaps they were able to sell at a profit. In other cases, the cash has accrued interest. So now people are getting a little more than what their allowed claims were. That's what that's saying. And so this $16 billion of cash could be shifting now from being locked down with FTX and the people running the bankruptcy itself into the hands of people who might reinvest it. So that's just what I'm saying. Hey, watch markets for the next couple of weeks. As this cash starts to move around, are you going to see an infusion into some assets and some stonks and things like that? It's not going to be a zero. Some of that cash is going to move back. Just a reminder too, I've been talking about this for 3 years, this whole saga. This is a Reddit I had. When people like to call me a YouTuber, I find some humor in that because I was on X for 2 years and Reddit for a year plus before I ever made even one YouTube video. So that was more my origins in this journey. But you can see I was talking about, just a reminder, the tokens for AMC and GameStop and a few others were actually created the night before the buy button was removed. And then there was a really hard push, in particular with AMC, by a known short to try to get us to tokenize our stock. It's just been a big saga all across the board. But tokens/stokens have a pretty ugly history with FTX, with Binance, CM Equity AG in Germany, and then Uniswap shows up, Ethereum shows up. There's a lot that's gone on since then, but just something we've been talking about for 3 years. That's all of why I'm showing you this old Reddit article of mine. A brief note for AMC on the day. So that was enough about FTX. Kind of covered that topic. This is a quicker video today. I just want to acknowledge, and I did acknowledge on X in one of my posts that you're not seeing here, it's not fun. It is not fun to see this price action. It's tough. It draws out certain negative accounts for sure, and then that's not fun having to deal with it either. And if you look at one of my posts today on X, I was kind of reminding everybody, listen, first off, of course there's such a thing as false positivity, right? Like, I'm not going to go around and pretending that today's price action on AMC, like, woo, hey, let's be happy. I'm not happy about it. I'm frustrated. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's fraud. I think it's manipulation. I think there's illegal behavior, unethical behavior for sure, a lot going on, and it makes me pretty angry. It does. But what I was also kind of saying on a post you're not seeing here is just as much as you could have false positivity and pretend that you're happy about something, there's also an unproductive negativity. And I'm not going to go into the unproductive zone. That's where shills really get you, because when you're starting to get sort of rage-filled and fear-filled, you start making bad decisions, and you are easily manipulated when you're in that place. And I want to stay away from being emotionally manipulated, and I hope you will all stay away from being emotionally manipulated. And so it's time to remind ourselves. I'm showing 2 of my recent videos on the right. Go through those. Those are not hype, guys. Those are, in fact, a known shill posted today, like, don't give me this BS, he said the real term, about improving fundamentals. I don't want to hear it. Well, first of all, he's a known shill. Also a token denier, by the way. So we just talked about FTX. There are people who have a lot of followers who have denied that tokens were even a thing, and are not looking so great through the lens of history. And so this particular token denier and known shill was kind of, sort of posting about being rage-filled and don't tell me about improving fundamentals and all that. Well, of course he doesn't want that, right? Because that grounds you in reality. And so in the days when you're tempted to get really frustrated or discouraged, remind yourself, first off, that's what they want. If you believe that there is market manipulation, then why would they not manipulate the price in order to manipulate your feelings? So if you believe in that, I do believe that our price is deeply undervalued and suppressed and manipulated. So then I'm not using that as the scoreboard to tell me how I should feel, right? So sometimes I have to set aside my frustration, set aside my anger, and not so much set it aside, but channel it, right? Like think of, great athletes who channel their anger, but they channel it into something productive, and they come out and they kick their opponent's butt, but they don't do it by being unfocused, right? So it's focused frustration, and I focus it into productive activities like making videos and killing FUD and things like that. So on the left, let's even just look at some facts, right? So that's what I was saying too. Like in the days where it's frustrating or stressful or whatever, go through a fact check. Hey, June 24, remind yourself, was the all-time record best ever EBITDA for AMC. And I had shown you that it was not even in the top 10. I think it was like the 16th best June ever or something ridiculous like that. And yet we had the all-time record in EBITDA. July was even far bigger at the box office. You can go fact check this, fact check these facts on Box Office Mojo. And then August was a top 6, I believe, all-time for August in terms of the box office. And then, September, I think, was right at the best ever September. So we've just been rolling through, and I've given you the Q4 forecast. I mentioned that's the last video. That's not even one of the 2 I'm showing here at the right. AMC's expenses are way, way lower than 2019. Like our Q4 expenses may be as much as $500 million below Q4 of 2019. Yes, I said $500 million. Sorry, I think I meant the full year. Full year 2024. Let me be careful there. Not $500 million per quarter. The full year 2024 may be $500 million lower in expenses than 2019. Known token denier shill. I'm talking about fundamentals here, so you might just want to go ahead and tune me out because no, I'm not going to stop talking about it. I don't let people control me that way. AMC has around 8,000 points of distribution for popcorn. Adam has said, in a few years' time, that may be a 9-digit business. So we are absolutely moving to a time of significant profits. That's why I'm pointing you on the right to this Q3 record earnings video that I did. And I walk you through why that may be the case. It's not hype. It's based on data. And also look at the video I had done a while back that I go through the entire, basically, financial model. All of the income statement lines, not truly all of them, but most of them. And I show you how AMC, in a fact-based walk, a non-hype-based walk, is doing incredibly and is very profitable now. And so once again, people who are rage-based, people who are anger-based are focusing you in the rear view, as I've said they would do. So that's the time to say, okay, I start noticing who's on which team. And these guys are not on my team, so why would I let them manipulate my feelings? Enough about that. And for the cabal, whether it's 165, 169, or the 2 forces of fear and love, we will win.